honeybee genetics. And as you can see here, this is a picture that I took years ago. It's a picture of a queen, a drone, and a worker. Some of you are watching and you're not beekeepers. Welcome. Welcome to all of you. Some of you just like to hang out. Appreciate that. Oh, and by the way, no, Robbie, remind me after this teaching. I got to announce next week, but I'll go with my teaching now. So, we've got 3 types of bees right here in this picture, a picture that I took years ago: worker, drone, and queen. Do you see the difference? Okay, we're going to talk about honeybee genetics. Let's have a little fun with this. I'll try not to bury you in scientific jargon and all that. How many castes are there when it comes to honeybees? And that's a question that oftentimes get asked. And I want to tell you what my scientific opinion is, based on smarter people than I am explaining this. So we would typically say, and I've said it before, there are 3 castes of bees within a honeybee hive. There is the queen, there's a drone, and the workers. However, we really can't say that because scientifically, there are only 2 castes in the hive, because a caste has to be of the same sex. So there are 2 castes in a honeybee hive. Yeah, that's what scientists say. And they say it's the queen and the worker. Even Tom Seeley, I think, mentioned once there may be up to 4 castes, because you base it on the work task that the different females do. The drone is not a caste. He's a different sex altogether. Okay. So the caste refers to different roles of work within the same sex, the same females. So there are 2 castes of honeybees. Oh, and by the way, if you kind of want to have fun with this, we like to kick this around sometimes, and I'll let you in on a little fun. I'm not going to say too many scientific jargon terms and get you all confused, but the different ages when bees do different things, the workers, we call that age polytheism. Now, that's not polytheism. Polytheism means many gods. Notice the different spelling. Polytheism is how you say that. But that's a word that means when a bee gets certain age, they will do different work based on their ages. And so let's get into genetics tonight. When we get into honeybee genetics, it's different. It's different than humans. And a lot of people get kind of confused. They don't understand. Even human genetics are confusing, right? But with honeybees, it's called haploid diploidy sex determination. That's what the honeybee genetics are called. And it's different than humans. We as humans are diploid. And notice the honeybees are haploid diploidy. And I'm going to explain that. So we basically have 2 sets of chromosomes, right? We have a total of 46 for 23 pairs. But with honeybees, it's different. Now, let me jump in here in the midst of this genetic explanation and say this. A virgin queen will mate with up to more than 20 drones sometimes. And all the sperm from those drones are stored in her spermatheca. This spermatheca is a sphere. It's a circular ball organ in her abdomen. And once they mate, it gets covered with what's called a trachea net. And I remember dissecting a queen, and I began seeing if she was mated. And the way that you can tell, if you like to dissect insects, you can actually dissect an insect. The spermatheca is very clear. It's a tiny little ball that's clear if she's not mated. Once she's mated, the sperm gravitates into the spermatheca and it appears cloudy. And then you'll see the trachea netting. Now, this is phenomenal because once she's mated, this net looks like somebody just wrapped a volleyball net around a ball. And that trachea net actually is providing oxygen and nutrients to the stored sperm in the spermatheca, or else it would die. It's living. It has to be kept fed and oxygenated. And that netting does that. Isn't that amazing? Okay, so back to the genetics. Honeybee females are all from fertilized eggs. And so that means the workers and the queen are from fertilized eggs. They have 32 chromosomes, and that means 2 pairs of 16. So female bees are diploid. That DI part of ploid means 2, diploid. Okay, stay with me. Okay, so then in haploid diploidy sex determination in honeybees, the male honeybees, the drones, are from unfertilized eggs. This is where many people get stumped, because in human anatomy and reproduction, if there's an egg that's not fertilized, it can't become anything, because we aren't haploid diploidy. We are diploidy. Okay? So a drone only has one set of chromosomes, and that comes from the queen. So there are 16 chromosomes to a drone. So let's think about this. How can a queen lay an unfertilized egg, and for it to develop into something, into an organism, into a bee? This doesn't work with humans. And this is known as Parthenogenesis. Okay, those of you that want to be a master beekeeper one day, you're going to probably see that on a test. Explain Parthenogenesis within honeybees. And it's a Greek word for virgin birth. So the taxonomy of the Western honeybee, Apis mellifera, if I can explain it this way, there's other things above the class, but let's just jump down to the class, insecta, insects. And then you have the order Hymenoptera. This includes wasps and ants. And wasps and ants are haploid diploidy too, in addition to honeybees. And then you have the genus of Apis, and then the species of Apis mellifera, the Western honeybee. So as we think about parthenogenesis, that's when an egg develops into an organism without being fertilized by sperm. Plants can do it. Some insects can do it. And what's difficult to understand is, how does that even happen? Well, it's because of the sex determination of haploid diploidy genetics. And so all the things necessary in the egg that will not be fertilized, there is sufficient enough, more than enough DNA material to allow that egg to develop into a drone, because drones are haploid. Haploid means single. So there's a single set of chromosomes, 16. Some people tell me, a drone is a clone of his mother. If he has half of her chromosomes and it only comes from her, then he's a clone. Well, obviously he's not a clone, because he's a male and he's different. Okay, he has different everything. So no, he's not a clone. A drone only gets a shuffle, a mixture of the queen's DNA. So not even all of it, but he does have a little bit of a mixture. That's why he's not a clone. Okay, now drones mate with virgin queens. Drones have, in their 16 chromosomes, they have a single sex allele because they're haploid. And they have very limited genetic diversity, if you want to call it incomplete meiosis. Honeybees overcome this. So in other words, drones are the male gamete and they don't have a lot of diversity. So how do honeybees overcome this very limited diversity of the male gamete, of the male sperm? Well, they do it in nature by mating with many, many, many drones, and that brings the diversity in. Isn't that amazing? Otherwise, it just, if a queen only mates with one drone, that colony will not live long at all. They have to have diversity. And so they mate with many, many drones. We call that promiscuous queens, because she's mating with a lot of drones, sometimes up to 60 drones on a couple of mating flights. That's amazing. And some people ask, well, what about diploid drones? Is that possible? Yeah, when the sex allele of a queen matches up with the exact same sex allele in a drone, then you get a diploid drone. And when this happens, it is too closely related to each other. And when this happens, the colony detects the diploid drones. those drone eggs and larvae give off a distinct odor, and the hive destroys the egg or the larvae or the pupae. They will not let them develop. I've heard of people letting them grow in a laboratory, and what they get, if it did emerge or eventually become an adult, it would not be able to do anything at all. So it's worthless. It's just a rare freak happening in nature. But anyway, there's that, the diploid drone. Now for breeding, there are many things that we do to select for the desire of the traits that we want. That's why all of this talk about bee genetics is important. If you're raising queens, and if you're wanting to buy a queen, you were probably wanting certain traits. So we want, and I've spent a lot of time raising queens with certain traits that I want. The traits that I'm looking for: less defensive. I want them to be able to produce more honey. I want them to be VSH, Varroa sensitive, hygienic, now a little more sensitive toward the Varroa destructor mite. And it's always great to have them to be disease resistant, colonies that overwinter well. Those are the ones that I will graft from. Now, in 2010, I did a lot of work with liquid nitrogen test by taking a soup can, cut out on both ends, a 3-inch circle, putting it in the brood, pouring liquid nitrogen down onto the frame. This is my frame here. And so that would destroy the cells developing pupae. And then we could test to see if this hive has hygienic traits. 24 hours later, we go back in there. And in this case, this colony is extremely hygienic. They pulled out all of the deceased pupae, and I must have spilt a little on the bottom there, but you can see sometimes they won't even clean it out in 24 hours. And so this is a trait that a lot of people are working on still today. You might have heard of unhealthy brood odor, UBO. It's a similar way to do it, except you just spray an odor in there or something like that. But it's similar to the same kind of wanting the same results. You want queens that are able to detect mites below those cells. And either the infected pupae gives off an stress odor, and then the bees can open it up and take out the distressed pupae along with the mites that are in there too. So that's kind of what is going on in the world of mite-resistant bees. I think we're really far away from that, but there is progress being made, and it's hopeful, right? But anyway, listen. You got to remember, once we increase one trait, there is another trait that will suffer. A lot of times we think we can just stack up all the good traits and it'll be a great queen. It doesn't quite work that way at all. I remember being at a talk speaking in St. Louis, and the gentleman from Purdue, I think his name is Greg Hunt, was speaking there. He came up with the ankle biter bees that will bite the ankles or feet, legs off of mites. And anyway, he was giving a talk on it, and I loved what he said. I think it was during question and answer. He said, I hope that by the time we manipulate the genetics of these bees, that they can still make honey. I think he was joking, but more truth is said in jest. So he was actually saying, I admit that if you go tinkering around too much with genetics and honeybees, what are you giving up? What else can happen? So there's a little bit of suspicion that as much as we are trying to get bees to be more mite resistant, are we suffering? Are the traits hurting us in other areas? I mean, we don't even think about this sometimes when we wonder, why are all the bees dying in the winter? Why are there more die-offs? I'm not saying that that's because we are genetically trying to improve genetics. I'm not accusing anyone of doing that. I'm just saying, would we one day find that to be the case? Because, one of the traits I'm looking for is to be able to overwinter well. That's a thought. So anyway, breeding for desired traits. I want you to know that diversity wins. Those of you that are really into bees, you love your bees, and you really want the best queen of all, you're always better off to get a mutt. That is real. I'm serious. That's what you'll find. So many scientists will say that the best queen is a mutt that mates with a lot of drones, a lot of diversity. Here's how that works. If you have a hive that has American foul brood or some other doesn't overwinter well or whatever, and you have a great diversity of genetics, there could be a lineage of traits where that line of diversity is able to deal more with preventing American foul brood or helping them overwinter better by either storing more bee bread and honey or, just making it through winter better. So you got to be able to think through that as well. And that's why I'm always, I don't want to say pushing, but I'm always encouraging guys to really consider raising your own queens from the hives that do fabulous. No kidding. Let's say you go through winter and you have 4 hives and all your hives but one perished in the winter. And you think, oh, I lost all my hives but one. Man, to me, you're telling me that you have one hive that made it. Oh my gosh, I would be grafting out of that hive come the 1st of May, and I would be raising so many queens out of that hive that survived. There's something in those genetics. I mean, that's what Brother Adam did with the buckfast bee when what was the disease of the white disease, trachea mites, wiped out all of his 200 colonies, but one or a few made it. He began to really realize, okay, a few made it. We can breed. We can get that survival genetic keeping it going. So there's a lot of cool things when you really empower your thinking to think that you hold so many keys to really keep healthier bees when you can start raising queens in your area from the hives that are surviving. Because sometimes it's really about a small climate, a little bit of your geo area there that your bees are able to get through a certain trait to get through in your area. All right. Wow, that's a great talk. I didn't think I'd make it through there. I thought I'd get bogged down in the science, but it does get deep into bee biology. To be honest, I'm not a geneticist. I love studying genetics in school and college and all, but it's not an easy thing unless you just pour your life into it. But I think we need to know the basics of genetics and why things happen. And that way, when we see problems in the hive, we know what's going on, right? We say, why do I have more drones than usual? And why do I have laying workers producing drones? And why isn't this queen laying well? And all. It just helps us understand bee genetics. So there you go. Whew. All right. Hey, I want to tell you guys about next Thursday's live stream. We're going to have $1,000 worth of giveaways because the next live stream that we have next Thursday will be my 1,000th video I've made on YouTube. 1,000th video. Okay. I think tonight's video is like 996. Don't quote me on that, but somewhere in that neighborhood. And so it's going to be an exciting night. I hope that we can get 1,000 viewers here. So all of you need to really get your clubs, your friends, your neighbors. I don't care if they want to hear about bees, just get them on here. They get 1,000 views all on here at the same time. And so that'll be next Thursday at 7 p.m. Central Time. So make a note of that. We do have some really good giveaways planned, and I really hope that you'll be the winner of some of these fantastic giveaways. Set your alarms. Don't forget this. I'll keep reminding you what's coming up too. That's going to be a lot of fun. Next Thursday. But thank you. If you're just joining the live stream, I'm David Burns. Thanks so much for joining me. We are live here on Thursday night, every Thursday night. Sometimes people ask me, when do you do your live streams? It's always been every Thursday night, 7 p.m. We've done it for over 2 years now. And it's been great being with you guys. Let's jump into some questions that you have. And let's just see if I can help you guys out with all the challenges of beekeeping tonight. I'm here to answer your questions. All right. At work right now, can't stay long. Package looks like it's pulling wax off my undrawn frames, only coated. will I need to put them out and recoat them again, or wait to see if they draw it out? Thanks. Sometimes they move the wax off the bottom up to the top and start building the top out. But if they don't do that, I'd wax them again. Yep. Maybe they're moving it to another frame. Who knows? Interesting. How long can you leave a queen excluder on to stop swarming? Oh, okay. I would say you don't want to leave it on more than 10 days. Drones can't get through there. They'll kind of want to get out there and mate with virgin queens. 10 days, your swarm's going to start laying a lot of eggs, and they'll be nailed down after 10 days. Yeah, no more than 10 days. 10 days is a good number. Hello, Ken. What's the best way to clean old honey drips and comb chunks out of a used layers hive? Elbow grease or let the bees do it? If bees place the hive near existing hive or 200 yards away. Woo! Never place it near a hive. Oh my goodness, they'll rob all those hives out once they find that layers hive with some honey in there. Put that thing really far away. Some people, you're not even allowed to do that in some states. So yeah, that's a challenge. I would definitely try to get as much out as I can with my hive tool, scraper, get my hand in there, wash it out with a water hose really far away from your hives. Let's don't get robbing started. Ooh. Hey, Mr. David, I marked my queen today and put a little more than I wanted. Will she be okay? I think so. If you watch my video I made yesterday, the day before, I tested that little marker pin on a piece of wood so not much paint would come off. So be sure and minimize the paint. It's better to take 2 or 3 dabs at the thorax than one big one. And you just have to check back on her and see. Thank you, Carmen, for your donation. All of you that are leaving donations tonight, I appreciate that so much. Julie, New Mexico. I marked my queen, but the mark is gone by 7 days. Can bees remove it? They love to remove it. Yes. And that's why you sometimes have to go back. I've got a hive that I'm following that was a package of bees, and they're rubbing it off, and it's almost gone. I'm going to have to go back and put another one on there. Yeah, they do. They scrub it off. They know it's foreign. Have an extremely spicy hive. Barbecue sauce, spicy. I've gone in twice to find and dispatch the queen. Can't find her, but see eggs. Recommendations on how to find her. Yes, go in there. How many boxes do you have? Get enough queen excluders to put between every single box. Okay. So every single box is going to exclude or really kind of keep the queen in that box. I mean, you put a queen excluder on every seam of every box. And then you go back and you start at the top and look for eggs. Wait about 10 days. Look for eggs in the top box. Any eggs? Any young larvae? Nope. All right, take that off. She's down on the next one. That's how you know where she is. It will limit what boxes you have to look in. Do the queen excluder trick. Isn't that cool? Always great tips here on the live stream. I started with a Lands horizontal hive and 5-frame nuke in early May, swarmed twice, once at just 4 weeks and again a week later. So new queens plus brood break. Do I still need to treat for Vora? Yeah, the Vora might, they will continue to reproduce. It is good when you have a hive that swarms because there's a brood break. It takes 30 days and so mites reproduce in the capped cells of pupae. So when you have that break, it's going to help a lot. But please test your mites. That's the only way you're going to know for sure. Your winter survival is going to increase when you test every month for your mites. Keep track and take the next necessary things that you want to do, whether it's powdered sugar, green drone comb, breaking the queen's brood cycle, or Apivar, oxalic acid, Formic Pro. I mean, whatever treatment whatever treatment you need to do to keep those mite levels down. Sebastian, thank you for the super sticker tonight. Those of you that leave donations, I really do appreciate it, even though I may not mention each one. Hey, Stephen, how can you tell when there's a nectar flow and when it's over? It's really simple. If you go out there and look and the bees are coming in and out really fast and you can't count them, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, I can't count. That's a nectar flow. But if you can count them, 1, 2, 3, It's a nectar flow, but not impressive. There's no other way to say it. But I mean, if you want to be a botanist and really nail down and examine flowers around you, that might help. But that changes too based on rain. Watch the flow of the bees coming in and out. Hi, Tammy. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm getting new queen from a friend 18 miles away. Would it be okay to take stocked nuke, my nurse bees and resources, to her yard to let queen take mating flights from there for different DCA? Oh, sure. I mean, that's fine. They're gonna be different DCAs. Absolutely. Yeah, you don't have to worry about that. That's a long way. Sure. You don't have any inbreeding threat that way. Bees are pretty good about not inbreeding even from the same yard. Yep. David, I've heard about aggressive colonies. However, as a first-year beekeeper, I lack context. Can you describe what an aggressive colony is like? You know, you've seen me work bees this year, and I haven't been wearing gloves very often, just my shirt and a hat and a veil. None of those hives are aggressive. Now, one of them, when I was mowing really far away, it came out and chased me around on the mower. By the way, I learned this years ago. Never try to outrun bees on a riding lawnmower. You won't be able to do it. They fly upwards of 25 miles an hour. You need to turn your mower off and head to the house. Anyway, how do you know aggressive colony? When you're working it and you just get stung a lot. I mean, like, ow, got stung. They're all over your mask. They're all over your arms. They're stinging your ankles. They're stinging your pants. You're getting stung 30, 40 times. It's not unusual to be stung a handful of times working a calm colony, but a bunch of stings, and how many are around your head at a time? That's how you judge that. Hey, Ross, thanks for your donation tonight. Thinking of going to deep boxes, frames only, other than weight and height. Is there anything I need to consider? You must be using nuke boxes? Medium boxes now, and you're thinking about going to deeps. I don't like deep honey supers. They're too heavy. Brood boxes are heavy too. I spoke in Maryland a couple of years ago, and the beekeepers in Maryland, a bunch of them at that club said, I think it was a state convention, but they said, hey, we all use mediums around here. It's easier on our backs and all. That's the only thing. The weight of it is just going to be a little harder. Yeah. Hey, Susan, thanks for being here on the live stream tonight. Appreciate all of you being here. By the way, click subscribe and give me a thumbs up. Hit the like button. Appreciate it. Hey, David, second year beak in New Hampshire. I've got some friends that live there. We have 2 hives and both are honey bound. No brood at all. We gave them 2 frames 5 days ago and plan to check back in a few days. Is there anything we should be doing? I do know that honey bound can happen when there's a honey flow. I do suspect my queens if my hives ever get honey bound, because the queen's not laying good. Sometimes they were like, hey, if she's not going to lay eggs, we'll put honey there. So check her. You might want to consider requeening. Harvest some of the frames that they're capped over in your brood box. Harvest that and put it back in and see if they can clean that up and get her laying again. Yeah. Thank you, Mike, for your super sticker. Appreciate it, Mike. Hi, David. Appreciate you being here, David. And that's a great name, by the way. You've got to be my age. I mean, David was a name back in the 60s and 70s, wasn't it? If a colony is queenless, will they stop drawing out comb? No, we have all those little anecdotal things that we share, but nah, they'll keep. I mean, if they're that aged, 12 to 17 days old, they'll make wax. They got to put it somewhere. Hey, Scott, thank you for your donation. Appreciate it tonight. Yeah. Hi, David. I have a new queen. I'm wondering when should I put a second deep box on? Tons of bees, tons of nectar and honey. All 10 frames are full of capped honey. At the top have feeders and pollen. I can't really, see entirely what you've got there. It sounds like you have some frames drawn out, 10 frames. The rule that I use is 5-7. When 5 to 7 frames are drawn out in one box, drawn out means they've stretched the wax out, added wax, made a honeycomb on that frame. Then you need to add another box when 5 to 7 frames have honey or resources or brood in it. Thanks, Cheryl. Appreciate you being here tonight and being so kind to leave a donation tonight. You guys are great. Well, hi, Larry. Good to see you. Larry, did you tell me you're going to EAS? Seems like you did. I want to have my bees clean extracted frames and read that I could put them back on the hive between an inner cover and an outer cover for 1 to 2 days. Will this work? Um, it won't work great because that inner cover has a really small hole in it. What I do, if I just extract the honey out, drop my wet super that's been extracted, drop it right back on the hive again. Let them start filling it up. Thanks, Scott. Appreciate your donation super sticker. Yeah, let the hive clean it up under the top cover. Good evening. Have you ever seen bees chew on the end joints of the hive? If so, why do you think they're doing that? Thank you. I just got your ultimate course. Well, thank you for buying my ultimate beekeeping course, online course. Chewing the ends of boxes on the outside or the inside? I've never seen that. No, I've seen them doing the washboarding. That looks like chewing sometimes. Hey, Jack, thanks for your super sticker tonight. Jack, how are bees going for you, Jack? That's great. I made some wax shavings from a block of wax. It looked like they were very thin wood shavings. I gave it to the bees, and it seems like they're using the wax and drawing comb a lot faster. Did you ever try this? I have never tried that, but I have heard of some people saying that they can do that, and the bees are using it. And the only way that I would run that experiment, I would put shavings of red wax in there and then see if I could detect that wax somewhere in the hive, being used by the bees. That'd be a lot of fun. Absolutely. Okay. I'm struggling with a laying worker hive. Oh no, not the laying worker. I am so sorry. Let me get my counseling sheet out. I've got to go and put on my counseling hat now. I'm going to counsel you. I'm going to comfort you. That's so frustrating. Oh, I hate it when that happens. You know what I hate worst about, keep that up there, by the way. What I hate worst about laying worker hive, it's me getting slapped on the risk of being negligent and not really watching my hive close enough. And believe me, that does happen with my schedule. But anyway, my mentor is suggesting adding eggs for the hive to raise a new queen. I'm thinking to combine with a smaller queen right hive. Thoughts, Northeast Ohio. Yeah, it's a tricky part. My solution is to take, if you have more than one hive, it sounds like you do, take your queen from another hive, a queen right hive, laying really good. Take the frame she's on, bees and all, eggs, hopefully open larvae, drop it into the laying worker hive. Make sure the queen is against the wall. Put that frame against the wall. What we're trying to do is increase the queen mandibular pheromone in that colony to clamp down the laying workers being able to lay eggs. They don't want to do that, but they will if there's no pheromone. So you're adding brood pheromone, queen mandibular pheromone from that queen. Now you can correct the queenless hive you took her out of, or let them raise their own. It's easier to get a queen right hive queen right again than it is a laying worker hive. So try that trick. Alyssa, thank you for your donation tonight. You're new to the channel and beekeeping all together. Everybody give Alyssa a great hand. Thanks for being here. You're special. I'm becoming obsessed. I know. Where, how do you recommend I start my beekeeping journey? Woo, I know. I hear ya. I've been doing this for almost 30 years. I have worked with thousands of beekeepers. I know the excitement. I know. Yeah. Well, the first thing you can do is get started in a class. You don't have to buy my classes, but somewhere you need to start a class. I do sell online courses. Join a bee club, start talking to some credible mentors, and keep watching the live stream where you can hear questions answered, take notes, and get a hive if you already have one. But go in there often and look and enjoy learning. EL, good to see you tonight. Great. I love seeing you here. Thanks for your donation. Hello, Jeff. I have 4 hives that swarm. They have 2 deeps and 2 mediums. Question is, why would they put the nectar in the brood box and swarm and not in the supers? I do have queen excluders on. Yeah, that is a good question. Jeff, it's because You didn't let them read the same books that you're reading. And they're doing their own thing. They're not following our books. I've got some hives doing that. Frustrating, isn't it? It's like, you filled up. I call it a swarm. They filled up their second deep with honey with a super above them. They haven't even touched my super. Why do bees do that? It's just, you can't keep a goat in a pen. You can't keep a bird in a cage. Yeah, we're asking a lot for bees to do things our way. Yeah, it's tough. I have 2 small queenless hives and a hive with a queen. Can I merge all 3, and how? Merge the 2 queenless together, then merge the queen right hive. Now, I like your critical thinking skill. I like that. You're thinking it through, and those are perfectly good ways to do it. Use a newspaper. When you combine them together, a newspaper, couple of slits, makes it all happen. Hello, Mark. Good to see you tonight, and thank you for your donation tonight. I hope you guys come back next week on the 17th. We're trying to get 1,000 viewers here next week. I'm planning on, hi, Mark. I'm planning on combining a queenless hive with a weak hive using newspaper. Do I have to obstruct the entrance to cause the orientation flight? I've been asked that a lot, and I never have done that, and it's always worked out really good. Of course, I take away their old hive location, so they have no place to go. No. Can't go back to that hive. It's gone. Howdy, Rick. How are you doing? Don't know why I said howdy. Oh, maybe it's time to cowboy up. Cowboy up is a phrase that I kind of started using when you go out there to the hive and you're hot and sweaty and things aren't going good and you want to go back inside because your hive is not doing what you thought. You want to go in your bedroom, curl up, and just cry. Nope, cowboy up and get back out there. Anyway, my resource hive is full. It's time to move to a deep or swap out frames. I'm still adding hives. Still time to get to a double deep before winter, Northeast Kansas. Yeah. Resource hive. Do you mean like a 5-frame nuke, or do you mean the legitimate resource hive? I don't know what you mean with the dividers in it, but yeah, there's probably still time. You got nectar out there. I would say, just start moving frames and manipulating frames to build that all up. Yep. We do have Cowboy Up t-shirts available. I love that shirt. I need to wear it. It's me saying Cowboy Up. I think it's available in black or yellow. It's scrolling across the bottom, I think. Hello, Justin. Justin, you're a member of my B Team 6 program. It's a mentoring coaching program that I have. Had it for 8 years now. What would you say is a good number of frames of pollen for each deep brood box? How many is too much? Thank you so much. Well, I did an inspection of the hive with 2 queens in it. It had a lot of bee bread in the bottom. They had more bee bread in the bottom than they needed because they once needed it before they swarmed. Now they're swarmed, they're smaller, they don't need that much. How much is enough? It depends on the population of your hive. I would say they're going to need about 3 to 4 frames of pollen per hive stored just to make the merry-go-round. They really do have to feed that to a lot of bees. Yeah, young bees, young larvae. Well, that's a nice comment, and thank you for your donation tonight, David. I can't thank you enough for your channel, returning to beekeeping this year after a break and have no community. Local Bee Club is outright hostile. Not allowed to participate if you don't use Langstroth hives. I keep Worry hives. It can be lonely. Thanks again. Well, my goodness. Well, welcome to our live stream. You are welcome. Come on in, bring your Worry hive and have a seat. We love you just the same. I've ran Worry hives. I respect Mr. Worry. What was he? I think he did that in the 50s, and I respect their philosophy and their work and all that. I don't think we should take one side. It takes a lot of different kind of beekeepers and different type hives in beekeeping. You're welcome to do whatever you want to. That's great. Good for you and welcome. Yeah. I have raspberry colored pollen coming in. What would it be from? Middle Tennessee. Deborah, there are charts on the internet and times of the year that you can look up your area and see what that is. It could be several things. I have no idea. I am from Tennessee. Those of you that don't know that, I actually lived in Tennessee until I was a teenager. I was born and raised in the South. Woo! And then I moved up north. My dad got transferred here when I was 13, I think. But it took me a while to start talking Northern. I had to learn how to not talk Southern. Everybody in school made fun of me. Are double nuke hives ever not a pain? Is there a secret to them? A double nuke. Is that like two nucleus on top of each other? Are you saying it's a pain? I've ran that kind of configuration before. I had to strap it down because it's a small footprint. When you start adding all the little boxes up high in the air, it can easily fall over. I kind of liked it. Hello, Mr. Joe Ellis. Thank you for your super sticker tonight. Appreciate that a lot. Yeah, 5 frame nucleuses. I have 5 queen cups on a frame. Do I remove them or let them build it out, split the hive? It's almost mid-July. Okay, careful, Mac Doyle. Think about this. Do you have a queen in there? Don't cut, this is for all of us, don't cut any queen cells out until you see a queen walking around. Because if you don't see a queen, they just swarmed, and you cut all their queen cells out, they don't have any way to raise a queen. All the eggs and larvae are too old. Make sure you got a queen, cut the queen cells out, use them in other hives. Cool. You guys are pretty sharp tonight on the questions. Sometimes we get a lot of beginner questions, and sometimes we get a lot of more advanced questions. Hey, Sarah. Oh, by the way, my sister said, I watched your live stream one time, and my gosh, David, I didn't understand a thing you were saying. She's not a beekeeper. I didn't understand a thing you were saying. But you guys do, don't you? Hey, Sarah, I plan on overwintering 3 5-frame nukes on top of an 8-frame next week. Let's see, does that number add up right? That'd be 10 and 8. What are you going to do with the size difference? With a double screen board between to share heat? 9, 18. It'd be close. 18 inches. Double screen board to share the heat. What do you think? A lot of people do that, Sarah. And, I don't hold the corner on all beekeeping knowledge. It is not my way or the highway. It is such freedom when you are open and your mind is open and you allow people to be themselves and you allow other people to do what the heck they want to do. It is so relaxing and freeing. A warrior hive, nukes on top of 8-frame with a double screen board to overwinter. Yeah, try all that. See how it works. I think it's okay. You can make that work. And the first time you do it and it fails, figure out why it failed. Keep doing it. I love this, don't you? In a few videos, you mentioned less hive beetles this year. Any theories, something you changed? We know how much you love hive beetles. I hate hive beetles. I saw one last week and 2 of them, I think I went after it like crazy. Thanks, Austin, for your donation of your super sticker. But we have been using GrubX to control the larvae of the Japanese beetles that ravished our apple trees. So I don't know if you know this, but Japanese beetle larvae go into the ground for a year, 10 months or something. They pupate in there. I put GrubX down there to kill the larvae. Lo and behold, I think GrubX really wipes out any larvae that are pupating from small hive beetle. Those trees are right by my hives. Yeah, no beetles at all. That's great. Okay, let me check my time here. Okay. How do you correct a queen laying drone eggs? Queen is a year old, started out good, and now only drones. 1 egg per cell right in the center. So not a laying worker. Okay, very good. Paul, I'm glad you're here tonight. I welcome your comment, and your comment goes right along with my teaching tonight. And so understanding haploidy, diploidy genetics in bees, now you know you have a drone layer. That means that something's wrong with her. Here's what can be wrong. Number 1, she ran out of stored sperm. So she's trying to fertilize the eggs, and there's no gas in the engine to do it. Thanks, Kenny, for your donation tonight. So you could have a queen that's out of sperm. Secondly, there is a lot of things that can go wrong physiology in the bee's body. I always have trouble with that word. And so these ducts, the ovaries, that the eggs travel down, and the fertilization muscles and all can have spasms, and she just doesn't lay good. So the answer is requeen her. She's done. Let's get a new queen in there ASAP. Hey, Gene, what's up? Thanks for being at the live stream tonight. Appreciate it a bunch. Where's the best place to get bees tested for genetics? I'm in California. I really don't know. Leave a comment if you guys know for sure in the comment section where you can have bees tested for genetics. You can actually have that done. You can test worker bees and find the lineage and all that stuff. But yeah, you can have that done. Of course, once that happens, you won't get your bee back. Hey, Chris, welcome to the live stream. Thanks for coming and thanks for your comment tonight. Do drones mate with their queen? Chris, that is a very good question. Thanks for asking that. So drones, the way that nature has made this and the way it's supposed to happen is that the queen will fly a little further away than her brothers, her drone brothers, the virgin queen. And so she'll fly further away than where they fly to their DCA. And although some studies show that there could be a little bit of a crossover there, a little bit more than I thought when I read the studies. And but we always kind of hope and think that they won't mate with their brothers. Nature wins. Nature wins. It rarely happens. Yeah. Thanks for the super sticker there. Appreciate it. John, David, after listening to this live stream, my question is, are feral bees healthier, stronger than bees we raise? Thank you again for educating us. Tom Seeley did a great bunch of work at the Arnott Forest. Is that how you say that? And he spent his life doing that work. I respect Dr. Seeley so much. He's always at EAS, by the way. And he started that work in the 70s. And he kind of evaluated all that. And there can be situations where if the genetics aren't greatly mixed up, watered down. That's not the right word. You know what I mean? And that if you have a good bunch of bees and they do really well and the genetics don't get diluted, that yeah, it could be better. But no, I don't think feral colonies are any better off. I think feral colonies, for the most part, are swarms that we beekeepers produce. I don't think there is a lot. I'm not saying any. I'm saying I don't think there's a lot of specific bees that are not influenced or haven't been influenced by the genetics of all the stuff that we do in beekeeping. Okay. I don't think in America that we see that very much. You almost have to be on an island, because even if you think you're isolated, a truck goes down the interstate, spills over a bunch of bees, and there's some queens in the area. I don't know, but I don't think so. No. Apis mellifera is Apis mellifera. Yeah. All right, we got a few more minutes here. Lewis, I've got a hive with no visible eggs, but I do see worker brood and drone brood. Now I have over 15 queen cells. What do I do? Well, it sounds like they're not superseding her with that many queen cells. It's getting ready to swarm, and sometimes they reduce her ability to lay eggs by not feeding her well prior to that swarm. So probably right now, as you're watching, they're swarming. No, it's too late to swarm, but they're going to swarm in the morning, right when you go to work or something. That's probably what's happening. Yeah. Phyllis Hazelwood, what did she say? Oh, let's see. I heard you mention my unknown bee knowledge, but I do want to get a hive. Okay, that's my sister Phyllis. I love Phyllis, and she is a few years older than me. Not really, but a few years older than me. And she's a hoot. She has her own live stream channel, has her own channel called Hazelwood Homestead, and her channel is off and going good. Gosh. Phyllis, I'm trying to get a hive down there. I got to get permission from the Tennessee Apiary division to find out what I legally do to get one down to you. But I'll bring one down there once I get the paperwork done. All these government regulations. Hey, Tom. Should I expect my queen bees here in Pennsylvania? I'll be speaking in Pennsylvania in November to be laying eggs 365 days per year. In particular, do they lay during a dearth in winter? Their laying is tied into pheromones that the bees give off. And those pheromones change based on the environmental conditions. So in the winter, she lays less. In a dearth, she lays less. In the spring, she lays more. She's always laying a little bit in the winter, but not a lot. Hey, Leah. Oh, Leah, good to see you. And Vera Lynn, my granddaughter. Hey, I have 13 grandchildren. Hey, Papa, we're late tonight. Love and miss you. Hi, Vera. Little Vera loves to watch me on the big screen at home. Isn't that crazy? Oh, gosh. Hi, Jim. Within a half mile of my apiary and a feral colony. A feral colony means a wild colony not kept in a beehive. It's in an old barn, been there for years. How can I capture some of those genetics? I spent years doing that, and I captured those genetics from bees that had survived on their own. And I started a line of bees, and I named it the Illinois Pioneer Queen, because I remember people saying that one of my grandmothers, she was from Pioneer stock. She was a short, tough old woman, and she lived into her 90s. And you didn't want to cross her, or you wouldn't make it into your 90s. And they called her a pioneer woman, pioneer stock, never got sick or nothing. Well, that's how I named my Illinois Pioneer Queens. But I'd say go in there and do what you need to do to put them in a hive, and then start raising queens from that stock. I'd love to have some of those genetics myself. Absolutely. Got a couple of more minutes for a couple of more questions. Cody, how are you? Thank you for being at the live stream tonight. I have to add queens, but I also need to treat for mites. Should I add queens first and then treat, or treat before? It's not going to matter. There's always going to be a few little nuances where one thing will work better than the other. I kind of feel like I'd rather treat them and then add a queen, because I wouldn't be exposing my queen. Especially some people have trouble with queens when they use formic acid, for example. That kind of would worry me a little bit. I'd treat them and then maybe add a queen later. Yeah. All right. This is our last question. By the way, let me answer this question, then I'll say that. David, I saw your post of swarm this month in your apple tree. Really? Did you catch them? And are you going to let us know how they do? Now, are you talking about the one that I did yesterday? I had a swarm that landed in there yesterday. I didn't make a video yet. Maybe you saw that on Facebook. Yeah, I'll keep you posted. I need to go out and look, make sure they're still there. Now, about comments, somebody left a YouTube comment saying that they felt like I didn't answer enough comments on my YouTube channel on each video that I make. Believe me, I hustle to do that, but obviously I'm one man. I use LiveStream this time to answer your questions. As you can see, I've spent a half hour with you guys answering your questions, and any questions I didn't get to that's left over, I'll do my best to make another video in the next few days answering more questions. I'm working hard for you guys, okay? Give me a break. I'm working. I'm trying to answer your questions. So yeah, so just wanted to encourage you that way. All right, guys, it's been awesome. Don't forget, next week we are going to have a great live stream, $1,000 worth of giveaways. I'm going to be here expecting to see 1,000 viewers join me next week. Please do your part. Can't do it alone. Going to have to take the whole community to invite your club, your friends, everybody to come join the live stream. So really appreciate all the donations tonight as well. I love you guys to the moon and back. Remember, you got a friend in me. Love you and appreciate you so much for being a part of the live stream tonight. Okay, guys, I'll see you in the next video.